Well, good morning and welcome to your Monday Morning Devotional. I'm so glad you're with me this morning. Continuing on with the Lord's Prayer. Last week, the prayer was, forgive us our debts. Well, the next part of that prayer is, as we forgive our debtors, or we forgive those who have sinned against us. The power of the Christian faith is the importance of forgiveness, not just forgiving for your own sake from God, but enacting that forgiveness to others. Jesus is very clear that he says, if someone has done you wrong, don't wait for them to come and put it right. You go to them and put it right. There's a story that he shares, a parable in Matthew 18 about the unmerciful servant. And if you know the story, there was one servant of a king who owed thousands and thousands of pounds worth of debt in today's currency. And he had no way of paying it off. And he knew that the deadline was coming. So he went to the king and pleaded for mercy. He asked for forgiveness. Like we were talking about last week, there's nothing like being forgiven of a debt. Well, the king pardoned the servant and forgave his debt and let it go. Well, the servant left the throne room of the king, leaving the palace, and came out and came across a fellow servant who owed him a microscopic amount of debt compared to what he owed the king. And he came to this servant and said, "Pay me now what you owe me." And the servant said, "I'm really sorry, I don't have it. Have mercy on me. Forgive me." And he says, "I will not forgive you." And he had this fellow servant thrown into prison. Wow. The king found out what had happened. He came to this servant, this unmerciful servant, and took back the forgiveness. Let that sink in. It's important that when we say, "Father, forgive me my sin or my debt, as I forgive those who have sinned against me or are debted unto me," that we understand the principle of forgiveness. God doesn't forgive us so that we can carry on as we are. He forgives us so that we can extend the same mercy to those who have sinned against us, forgiving them, releasing them of that debt. You know, in the Bible where it says, "Give and it shall come back to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, it will be poured into your lap." The context of that verse refers to mercy. So the more mercy that you extend to people, I'm not talking about cheap mercy, I'm not talking about cheap grace, but genuine mercy, how much more our King, our Father in heaven, pours out that mercy upon us and upon our lives. Well, as we look at that prayer today, may we, each of us, take time to reflect. And if there's a grudge within you, or an unforgiveness, or a debt that you hold against someone, let it go, as your Father in heaven has forgiven your debt. God bless.